One of the most simple acts of defiance we can do with the rise of AI in our work is embrace a new form of work. It's about time we start taking seriously slow productivity. One of the biggest reasons I don't have a normal job these days has to do with the bureaucracy of it all. It's all just very frustrating for me. Pointless meetings, the threat of mass layoffs, the excessive hustle culture, and also just the bureaucracy of job applications. All of it doesn't sound that great to me. And I'd rather be focusing on these kinds of passion projects as that might lead to something. And the fact that AI is being shoved into every little thing these days, the bureaucracy is getting even more absurd, as I see plenty of articles revolving around corporate decisions of AI laying off people or just saying ridiculous things. All of this has resulted in people obviously resisting and showing a lot of hatred towards AI and its usage, and rightly so. But some other people have actually been using it to change how we work and offer something that's actually useful that we can use to be pushing back against AI. Some of it is a push to being more technical and scaling yourself up to, or you could just start a union and use that leverage to put in guardrails against AI usage and having it being used as a bargaining chip to replace workers. And those are definitely some good strategies. But the problem with those is these are long-term strategies that can safeguard ourselves from AI. And it doesn't really solve any of the short-term stuff right now. Fortunately, I do have a solution for the short term. Best of all, this solution doesn't require a lot of heavy investing in yourself or requiring yourself to burn yourself out to make any of this happen. It's something called slow productivity.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Pushed by computer scientist and author Cal Newport, his argument is to set aside old faulty understandings of productivity where quantity is king and replace it with slow productivity. His book, aptly called Slow Productivity, is a breath of fresh air as the push comes at a time where AI is being more widely embraced and being shoved down our throats. And plenty of people seem to be agreeing with this overall sentiment and the whole notion of slow productivity, as this book has only been out for just 2 years and is already highly rated on Amazon. So let's talk about this new productivity method and how adopting it can change how you work and view productivity regardless of whether you are an entrepreneur, a creator, or a 9-to-5 jobber. To begin, it's worth noting that, like with a lot of productivity hacks, slow productivity isn't a revolutionary or mind-blowing way of thinking here. It's been around for a very long time. It's just not as neatly packaged as it is right now. Digging into the specifics of what slow productivity is, it's essentially just a mindset shift that prioritizes quality of work over the quantity.
My goodness, what an idea. Why didn't I think of that?
What makes this different from other productivity methods has to do with Newport's principles, which he uses when considering what assignments and workflow to focus on, as well as where you find value in your work. Honestly, the principles that he discusses is a lot of things that I generally embrace and that I've talked about in my own productivity videos in the past. That said, these core principles combined in this specific fashion can make working more enjoyable and guide you to being irreplaceable in the workforce, despite all of the push for AI. And for entrepreneurs and creators, it can be a valuable tool to avoid burnout and produce something that people actually love and want to support. These principles are the following: do less, work at your own natural pace, and obsess over quality over quantity. Let's dive into each one. The first principle is any advice that any reasonable productivity article would offer, and that alone I consider a pretty nice touch overall, primarily because productivity articles and videos as a whole are pretty counterintuitive to their intentions. Bringing up taking breaks or doing less is a silent acknowledgement that yes, you're being unproductive right now by learning how to be productive.
Ironic.
And that in of itself challenges your very beliefs of what it means to be productive. Beyond that, doing less is a broader umbrella than just a demand for a 4-day work week or banning overtime. It can also mean having fewer meetings, sending less emails, and reducing the amount of administrative upkeep that you do or are expected to do. It encourages more streamlined solutions like having a weekly huddle to discuss anything that is worth reviewing over and that people might need help with certain things and addressing particular needs. It's essentially just an expectation to focus on what you do well and doing less of the things that serve as obstacles to what you do well. A lot of companies get into this mindset that deadlines and crunch times are absolutely necessary parts of work, when in reality, they're not.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
There's a reason why having long periods of crunch time is not good, and outputs tend to be shoddy when teams are put into this state, let alone individuals. Heck, there is a study that proves that productivity declines significantly after we work 50 hours in a week.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
This principle is really just a reminder of all of that, and to simply block time accordingly and to not overextend yourself and basically just work within that time constraint. You need to consider the ebbs and flows to your work, as I've talked about before, and recognize that you're not going to have unparalleled focus and balance of energy all of the time to be able to put out every possible thing that you want to. Things take time, and we're not machines, unlike AI. And again, trying to compete with AI is just an absurd notion, and it's especially crazy if people are trying to expect that of you. A general rule of thumb to embracing this principle that Newport encourages is to essentially double the amount of time that it takes you to complete a task, at least in terms of telling your boss how long you think it will actually take you to complete a task. The reason for this is that it gives yourself a much bigger window of time to clear through and make sure that a task is not only done, but is also done well and to the best of your own abilities. On top of that, this can also give you time to implement your own other little productivity methods, such as using a Pomodoro technique, or chunking, or having to-do lists to ensure that you're staying on task and being focused. The final principle is certainly the more relevant these days, as since the publication of Newport's book, AI has only grown even more in the past few years. For sure, it is a bubble that we're dealing with, and what some of the individuals at the top are doing isn't the soundest business decision, I would say. We can't deny that AI has changed the landscape and how we work forever, regardless of whether it sticks around in this iteration or not. Broadly speaking, AI has unmatched output as it takes little time to generate images, summaries of articles, books, or even videos these days. And there is no way that a human is going to be able to reasonably compete with all of that. What is debatable, though, and what Newport argues in this final principle, is the overall quality of the work. Because there's a reason we call AI complete and utter slop. It's bad and it's uninspiring, and that's before we get to the resources that it costs to even use this.
That's a lot of damage.
Overall, the strategy is just a good one because it really drives home why people are the better workers here. We can automate and use as much AI as we possibly want, but that's never going to be enough to replace people. Things will break down and will need to be repaired. Customers will complain about finished products being shoddy, bad, or uninspiring, or just a disappointment and refuse to support the company any further. Robots simply can't replace people, and people who are trying to make that happen or think that way is going to cost them way more than if we just let people do the work that they want to do and pay them well to do so. Not to mention, it's also a very cruel and heartless way to think that robots are just going to be replacing all human beings. And this is especially so for the people that embrace this final principle and communicate clearly, directly or indirectly, just how important they are to the work process. You can do it! To value quality over quantity. You can do something radical like simply stop working and see how long it takes for productivity to screech to a halt or things to go wrong. But other avenues can be honing your craft in a different way. It could be pitching to people that you use little to no AI in the work that you do, resulting in fewer revisions and attracting more customers, for example. Or you could put more effort into the quality of your work by reviewing your work for a few more times and refining it even further, making it just a much better product or service that you're offering to people. Regardless, embracing this principle will no doubt convince business leaders and managers that AI isn't the way of the future, especially when we're looking at companies like OpenAI and how they're burning billions and billions of dollars for effectively a search engine that encourages us that glue is a good condiment to put on to stuff. It's not exactly a really great return on investment. And when you combine this principle with doing just less and focusing on work at your own pace, you're really showing how crucial you are to this whole system, to a company infrastructure, or just positioning yourself as a better entrepreneur or content creator. With work changing so much these days, it's important for us to adapt, of course. This doesn't mean that we have to embrace AI like so many other people insist on, but rather push this idea that we are truly irreplaceable and we can offer something far more useful than what AI could offer us right now. It's a little ironic given how the AI surge is envisioned as yet more robots taking over our jobs, but their sheer incompetence is showing just how important people are to overall productivity and are a necessary part to everything working, namely in the quality department. And even beyond productivity, this movement really emphasizes that being human is more than just our output numbers on a spreadsheet. This method is a reminder that we should be valuing the depth of our work and regain some of the humanity and the drive that we have for the industries we're in and the passions that we have. Because a truly autonomous world would be a boring one to live in, and slow productivity could just be the panacea we need to push a new form of work. Thank you guys so much for watching the entirety of this video. It would really mean a lot to me if you left a like on this video and also subscribe to my channel for more content in the future. I love you guys.